What's up YouTube, capital G here. So the Shaddoll structure deck, not only is it happening, but looks like it is going to be released a lot sooner than what a lot of people, myself included, would have ever imagined. How soon, you may be asking? Well, does before the end of the calendar year sound soon enough to you? Because that is exactly what is going to be happening. As you guys can see, I'm on the official Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG website where Konami just posted the first information about the brand new structure deck, Rebirth of Shaddoll. That is going to be the name of this structure deck, and as absurd as this sounds, this baby is coming out this year in the OCG. How soon are we going to be able to know what's inside? Well, the structure deck's official release date is actually going to be December 7th, which, I mean, that is mind-blowing to me because you're talking about a structure deck being released in 4 months. Now, the reason that I think that that's kind of absurd is obviously Konami had no idea what theme they were going to be building this structure deck on until not that long ago. If you guys remember, I don't know how people could have forgotten or not heard about this because I made 3 different videos on this topic. Konami on the official OCG website hosted a giant poll with 20 different themes and archetypes that, you know, fans and Yu-Gi-Oh players alike from all over the world could vote on, and then whatever archetype ended up winning, they were going to make a structure deck based on that. And they had a bunch of different archetypes, everything from Burning Abyss and Madoche. They had Sacred Beasts, Fabled, Insectors were in here, Trap Tricks, so many different archetypes, Jinzo, Black Wings, ones that I definitely did not expect, and ultimately Shaddolls did end up winning. Now, it wasn't without drama because, you know, there was a thing with Sacred Beasts where they started out in 6th place and then they jumped all the way and had a big surge to the 1st place spot, which I saw that and I was just taken aback. I thought that that was just, at first, I was like, I couldn't actually believe it, but then in the waning hours, Shaddolls kind of found their surge and they jumped back into the pole position. Now, you guys can't be looking at me or blaming me about getting a Shaddoll structure deck if you don't like Shaddolls, because I said very publicly I voted for Crystal Beast, and even if I wasn't going to vote for that, my second vote would have gone to Madoche. So Shaddolls were not even like one of my top 2 choices, but it doesn't matter because here we are. Now, the reason that I'm a little concerned about this structure deck's timing is because when you're basically building a structure deck, you know, not exactly from the ground up, because it's not like they don't have stuff to work with, but when you're building a structure deck and you don't know what the theme is, obviously your time for R&D testing is not going to be that much. Like, Konami only has essentially 4 months to build a structure deck kind of from scratch, and I think that that's kind of crazy. I think that's going to be a little crazy because obviously, if Konami doesn't have a lot of time to R&D test this stuff, that's how you end up with like incredibly broken cards. I kind of feel like this structure deck has a very high chance of being broken, like the cards just being ridiculously absurd, because obviously Konami didn't know what they were going to be building for the structure deck. It's not like the structure deck R's, like Zombies or the Endymion structure deck where Konami has it in their mind for years. Like, hey guys, we're going to revisit this archetype. You guys got a whole long time to, you know, come up with some new ideas and stuff like that. Konami builds, or basically is kind of building this on the fly, guys. I mean, what if like Crystal Beast or what if Jinzo would have won the poll? Obviously, they would have been building a completely different structure deck at this point. So they're not going to have a lot of time to like R&D test this stuff. Also, another reason why I think that this is going to be a successful structure deck is because Shaddolls already have a competitive history. They're not working with an archetype as like Jinzo or, you know, maybe like some of the other archetypes that are like lesser known that just didn't have any competitive success, maybe like Charmers. Shaddolls 2015, they were an incredibly strong deck. If you don't know the story about Duelist Alliance and how the archetypes from there, from that set power creeped all the Zexal archetypes out of the game, Shaddolls were one of the main kind of like perpetrators. I remember playing Bujin in 2015, and Super Polymerization being at 3 was one of the reasons why I felt like Bujins was unplayable when Shaddolls came out. They would just super poly your Yamato off the field and there was nothing that you could do. So I kind of feel like with Super Poly being back at 3, plus Konami not having a lot of time to actually R&D some of the cards that they're going to be making for this structure deck, and then then lastly, you know, the fact that Shaddoll still have cards right now that are incredibly strong. I think Wind is still an incredibly good card for, you know, today's Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that cards like Shaddoll Beast, Shaddoll Dragon, Shaddoll Fusion, we've seen these cards be ran competitively. These cards have not been power creeped even by 2019 or 2020 standards. I kind of feel like Konami is going to give us a meta deck this time. Now, one of the interesting things is, and I guess this can be a little bit of a prediction, YG Organization translated everything that was posted. Konami is going to be releasing some Shaddoll Fusion sleeves, and that obviously hints at Shaddoll Fusion being a very important part to the new Shaddoll strategy moving forward. That kind of tells me that they're probably going to get maybe 1 to 2 new fusion monsters in this structure deck. I know that some people are probably going to be like, Cap G, how, I mean, come on, that's obvious, but I mean, for some people out there, they can maybe think that it could be going in a new direction. I also feel like, and this is just my personal prediction, I think Shaddolls are going to get another Link monster. I think the way Konami does this is if they give your archetype a Link monster and Link frames, but then the archetype doesn't actually progress, that's when I think that they give you another Link monster, because we saw this with Gladiator Beast. Obviously, the first Glad, you know, Link monster didn't really do anything. So when Konami gave Glads a whole bunch of support, they just gave us a better Link monster. With Madoche, it's a little different because, yes, Madoche, like the Madoche Link monster didn't really do that much, but then once Konami gave it a couple more cards, Madoche did start seeing competitive success. So now I feel like Konami doesn't really feel like they're inclined to give Madoche a second Link monster. But whatever you guys think about the Shaddoll structure deck, Rebirth of Shaddoll, leave it in the comment section below. Are you a little concerned that Konami basically has to come up with a structure deck in 4 months and they won't have probably as much time to R&D test this stuff? Much like me, do you think that these cards might end up broken because of that? Whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and subscribe if you have not already.